Hello and welcome to this week's video where you'll be accompanying us on our Insólita tour of Timanfaya, the famous fire mountains on the islands. And rather than put some music over it, I thought I'd explain a little bit about the background to Timanfaya to you, but more importantly read the words of the priest, Don Andres Lorenzo Curbelo, who actually wrote about it in real time when the eruptions were taking place in 1730. He ended up leaving the island in 1732, so some 4 years before the eruptions finished, but his words give you a real feeling for what it was like back then and in the early days of the big eruptions for sure. On the 1st of September, between 9 and 10 at night, the earth suddenly opened near Timanfaya, 2 leagues from Yaissa. On the first night, a huge mountain rose from the bosom of the earth, and flames escaped from the apex that continued to burn for 9 or 10 days. A few days later, a new abyss was formed, and a torrent of lava rushed over Timanfaya, Rodeo, and part of other villages. The lava spread over the places to the north, at first as fast as water, but soon its speed slowed down and it did not run more like honey. But on the 7th of September, a considerable rock rose from the bosom of the earth with a noise similar to that of thunder, and due to its pressure it forced the lava, which from the beginning was heading north, to change course and go to the northwest. The mass of lava arrived and destroyed in an instant the villages of Maretas, Santa Catalina, and others located in the valley. On September the 11th, the eruption was renewed more strongly, and the lava began to run. From Santa Catalina it rushed to Maso, set fire and covered the entire village, and then continued on its way to the sea, running 6 days in a row, with a frightening noise and forming real waterfalls. A large number of dead fish were floating on the surface of the sea, coming to die on the shore. Soon everything calmed down and the eruption seemed to have completely ceased. On October the 18th, 3 new openings immediately formed above Santa Catalina, which are still burning, and masses of thick smoke escape from its holes that spreads throughout the island, accompanied by a large amount of slag, sand and ash that are distributed all around. They're almost like drops of water falling from all points of the compass. The thunder and explosions that accompanied these phenomena, the darkness produced by the mass of ashes and the smoke that covers the island, forced the inhabitants of Yaissa to flee more than once, but they returned each time because the detonations did not seem to be accompanied by another phenomenon of devastation. Until October the 28th, the volcanic action was exercised in this way for 10 whole days, when with one blow all of the cattle on the island fell dead, suffocated throughout the region due to the development of pestilent vapours that condensed and fell in the form of drops. On October the 30th, everything was quiet. A few days later, on the 5th of November, the smoke and ashes reappeared, constantly detaching, and then a new current appeared that caused little damage because all the surrounding areas were already burned, devastated and covered with lava. On the 27th, another current rushed with incredible speed towards the edges of the sea. It reached the shore on the 5th of December, and it formed a small island in the middle of the waters, all around which many dead fish were found. On December the 16th, the lava, which until then had rushed into the sea, changed direction and headed for the southwest, arriving at Chubadero, which very soon on the 17th was nothing more than a vast fire. It immediately swept the villages of Uga, but did not extend beyond this point. And now on to January the 7th, 1731. New eruptions came to upset all the previous ones. Incandescent currents, accompanied by very thick fumes, came out through the openings that had formed in the mountain. The clouds of smoke were often crossed by bright lightning of blue and red light, followed by violent thunder, such as in storms, and this spectacle was so frightening to any new inhabitants of the island who did not know storms in this region. On the 10th, an immense mountain was raised that on the same day sank into its own crater with a frightening noise, and it covered the whole island with ashes and stones. The burning lava streams descended like streams to the sea through the Malpais. But on the 27th of January, this eruption was over. On the 3rd of February, a new cone was erected, which burned the village of Rodeo, and after having devastated the entire area of this village, it reached the edges of the sea, continuing to run until the 28th. New cones finished by craters were erected on the 20th of March, half a league away. These cones erupted until the 31st of March. On April the 6th, they started once again with yet more violence, and they threw an incandescent current which spread obliquely on the Yitz's side over the already formed lava field. On the 13th, two mountains sank with a terrible noise, and on the 1st of May this volcanic fire seemed extinguished, but it was renewed a quarter of a league away with a new hill rising, with a current of lava coming to threaten the village of Yisa. On May the 6th, these phenomena ceased, and during the rest of the month the immense eruption seemed to be completely over. On the 4th of June, three new openings came at the same time, accompanied by violent shocks and flames that broke out with a frightening noise, and that came to plunge back into dismay the inhabitants of the islands. The eruption again occurred near Timanfaya. The various holes gathered very soon in a single elevated cone from which lava came out that rushed to the sea. By June 1831, all the beaches and seashores were covered in an incredible amount of dead fish of all species. And at that point, Cabello left the island, and we know no more, and there's very little detail that's been written about what went on during the time from 1732 to 1736. But I hope you enjoyed that. Have a wonderful weekend, and see you soon.